Cross-border payments are seen as vital for connecting people, businesses and economies as they enable the flow of money and trade across borders. Chair of Committee on Payments and Market Infrastructures, Fabio Panetta, says cross-border payments foster trade and financial inclusion, ultimately supporting the global economy. He says challenges in this space include high costs, slow transaction speed, limited accessibility and lack of transparency. He says lowering costs of remittances, especially in Africa, is a critical priority as this would support economic growth, foster economic inclusion, and improve livelihoods across the region.
Cross-border payments within and to Sub-Saharan Africa are among the most expensive and slowest across the globe. These challenges have significant social relevance as they disproportionately impact migrant workers sending remittances to support their families, small businesses striving to engage in regional trade, and communities seeking greater access to economic opportunities.
The Financial Action Task Force, FATF, a global money laundering and anti-terrorism financing watchdog, says cross-border payments should be accessible, fast, cheaper and secure. The organization has recently updated its recommendations to improve transparency and security in cross-border payments.
The FATF really engaged with the private sector, with experts of the payment system, but also the financial inclusion area and of technology, and a lot of the words and the voices at that table were represented from people here. So it was really a collective effort. Now, the story of this update is that for over 2 decades, we hadn't touched that standard. So it was over 20 years in which the system evolved. Of course, new players, new business models, yet the same standard from the FATF. And that created friction at many levels. First, in terms of having the clarity of who was responsible on collecting the information, which kind of information, how to transmit it, how to make it interoperable. So this is going to be a major shift by having that clarity from the standard of the FATF.
SWIFT, a global player on cross-border payment systems, says while significant innovation is happening in this space, short-term policies may limit systems interoperability and therefore negatively affect economic growth.
We see where today sanctions and other economic pressure tactics are short-term policy actions that have longer-term reactions. And we see indeed many countries around the world that are having as their top priority a strategic focus on sovereignty of financial infrastructure, data, technology, and we observe a shift towards regional groupings, bilateral relationships, and also a desire to grow the usage of local currency. So that in one hand, and in another hand, obviously, we've seen it, we heard it in the panel earlier as well, there is a huge wave towards innovation in the financial services industry.
Some of the challenges with cross-border payments are also said to include regulatory divergence, which is partly to blame for slow reforms of systems interoperability, as each country has its own compliance requirements, as well as the lack of harmonized technical standards and the trust deficits between users and platforms and between countries. Gloria Sefako Musi, SABC News, Durban.